trick to the lymph system is find the darkness. Look for where it's dark. The dark tells you what organ it is, because the dark is going to change where it is depending on which of the four you have. So this, if you notice the darkness, look for the pain. Where do you see the dark color? Come on the outside. You take my pencil or whatever, I kind of make a ring, one ring of darkness, one ring to bind them all. So that's a lymph node. Lymph has the dark on the outside only, it's one layer, and it has light on the inside, one layer. So one ring of dark, a bunch of light, lymph node. Make sense? Dark and light, 2 layers. All right? So I'm going to show you another picture here. This is a close-up of that. So where's the darkness? The darkness is out here. Where's the lightness? The lightness is in there. Therefore, lymph node. Make sense? So that kind of 2 layers to it. Another view, just so you can see that I'm not making this up much. Well, I am. Right here. Give me a second. Oop. I lost the internet. Different slide. If you just look for the light and the dark, you will see dark kind of here, light kind of here. No. Our slides are crummy. They're not nearly as pretty, but you can still see that layering. So light and dark rings, layers, lymph node. You're kind of done. That's that answer. Make sense? Okay, now the harder part, if you look on your list, which I'm trying to find where I put it, right here. If I know it's a lymph node, then I have these words under it. Capsule, nodule, sinus, center. Okay, the capsule and nodule we can get pretty quickly. Let me show you where they are. Right, let's start with this one here. All right. All right. So the capsule is the very outside part you touch. So if you look carefully with my magical stick, if you look right here, there's a layer just outside the darkness, that little edge. That's the capsule, that's the part you would touch and put your hand on. It's here, it's over here. So it's gonna be the outermost edge, not dark, it's just gonna be the outermost. Here's another picture of it here. You look right here, capsule, the outermost part before you get to the dark. Make sense? That's always capsule. There. I go to my other picture, boom. Right here. Capsule's out there, outside the cells. Make sense? So once I know it's a node, the capsule's the outer edge of it. Usually a very thin line. All right, let's find our next word. All right, we gotta find a nodule and a center. They're related. They're not the same thing, but they're related to each other. So if you find one, you shall know the other one. I'm gonna look in this darkness. You look right up there where my mouse is. So there's like a weird circle, like someone drew on it. That's what they're referring to. You notice there's one here, there's one here, there's kind of one here. You have to squint a lot and get one there. If I zoom in on that, a little more. I can't. There you go. If I look right there, that circle is called a nodule. A circle in the darkness. Don't ask me why. That's called a nodule. What do you think we call the lighter center of the circle that is the nodule? That's the germinal center, because we're biologists. The center of the nodule is a germinal center. The nodule is the ring. The darkness is the layer. Make sense? So I have a nodule with a center there, nodule with a center there, nodule with a center there, and so forth. That's the circle. That's the circles in the dark. Right? That's just the words we give them. So if we go to this picture here, back up a bit. You can't see it nearly as well, but here you can. So you can get the gist that here's a nodule, this kind of circular zone. Where's the germinal center? The lighter center. That's the center of the darkness. Make sense? So they can vary by color, but you get the idea there's a ring of something with a ring of something. Make sense? So capsule, nodule, center. Doing good? Okay. One more word to go, and then we're done with lymph nodes. So our next word, sinus. Cortical sinus. Cortex means the outer part, not the outer part, but the outer part. That came out wrong, probably. So you look on this one here. I backed up a bit. So get your bearings. The middle part, this is called medulla. It's the middle where the whiteness is. The dark is called the cortex because it's the core, the capsule out here. So cortical sinus means a white thing in the dark area that goes vertically. That's these lines. Those lines are sinuses or drains in the cortex. So sinus, 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 sinus. Those are the white things in the darkness. Sounds like some kind of abstract philosophy, right? So the dark stuff is germinal center nodule. The white lines are your sinuses. The outer edge is capsule. That's a lymph node. Make sense? Okay. So now what you're going to do is remember where the darkness is, right? Because that's going to change on the next slide. So what's our next part we're supposed to learn? Let's see. We're supposed to learn a thymus. Right there. Okay. Let me hit you with a thymus. You're going to see one, I hope, big difference. If not, that's why I'm here. Okay, tell me how this is different than the lymph node. What do you see? Oh, what's that? Big white lines. I see big white dividers. Where do you see the dark and the light? Do you see rings? No, you kind of see compartments. So you notice that there is dark and light, but there's a dark and light section, dark and light section. They're not in a ring, they're in sections. Biology land, because of who we are, we view those as rooms. So you have rooms of dark and light all over the place. Not one ring to bind them, but rooms of darkness. Sounds like we're quoting some Mordor here. But these relationships are in separate areas. So this is a thymus. A thymus has rooms dividing the dark and the light. Make sense? One ring node, rooms, thymus. Let's look at our list. Ooh, wrong button. Boom. All right, capsule. Where do you think the capsule is? Very outside. So this slide didn't have it because I have to look way out there. But you notice we have the word lobule, cortex, medulla, and septum. Those are on the slide. So all I got to do is apply some wording. The walls, the white lines are walls. The word for wall is interventricular what? Septum. Those are the septa. Septum. So here's a septum, a wall. Here's a septum, a wall. There's actually a wall right here too. The white big rooms are made out of septa. So this has about 2 or 3 septum on it. The room is called a lobule because we think it's like it's a biology thing. There's a lobe, like your lung. One lobule, one lobule, one lobule. Those are individual compartments. Each lobule has an outside edge and a middle. What do you think we call the outside edge? Cortex. What do you think we call the innermost middle part? Medulla. Using the same words but for different. So cortex, medulla in the lobule. Cortex, medulla, lobule. Cortex, medulla, lobule, septa. I'm just dividing them up into rooms. So instead of one series of rings, I have different rooms. Make sense? The only thing missing is the capsule, which has to be in the very, very, very outside, which I don't have a picture of. But I could probably try to find one. But the capsule will be on the outermost edge to go to. So I'm going to try finding a different thymus for you, just to show you a different one. This one's really pretty, I think. Notice the room look. There's different regions of light and dark with lines between them. And that makes it different than the node, which had one ring of dark and light. Make sense? Thymus, rooms. Right? So ring, room. Okay, we're done with node, we're done with thymus. Our next one is, boom, spleen. Okay, 3 things on a spleen. Okay, you will either love a spleen or you will hate a spleen. I'm hoping you love a spleen. Maybe not, because I think I lost my spleen. I lost my spleen. All right, all right. The lighting's gonna be a little different on my screen. look out there and tell me where you see the darkness. Where's the dark? Okay, everywhere, right? We call it splattered. Spleens are splattered. The dark is randomly thrown around. There's no ring, there's no room. It's just hither and yon, I quote a word. But I see dark things kind of randomly spread all over the place, not in rooms or layers. That is a spleen. A spleen is splattered. Make sense? Yeah, so if you see that distinction, you'll get it. If we look at our list, we're supposed to know capsule. Again, I'd have to see the whole slide to see it. That one does not. I have red pulp and white pulp. This will drive you batty. Can anyone guess where the red pulp is on this picture? Take a guess. Where's red? Because we're biologists. That is red pulp, the background red color. Here's the harder question. Where's the white pulp? The dark. In biology land, because of some weird thing, that is white. Don't trust your lying eyes, right? That is considered white pulp, the dark. So this is where you have to just accept that word, that the dark things are white. Don't ask me. It's like white blood cells are dark. I mean, I don't know, it's a weird thing. But white pulp is dark, red pulp is red. And this is a spleen that's splattered. Make sense? I wish they would name it something else. They did not. But I just work here. So if I go back to this one here, you can see that splattered look where it's all over the place. That's too close, sorry. So you can see kind of that dot, or like here. There's a spleen. You can see that polka dot, look to it. So the capsule would be way out here on the very outside edge. It would not be in there because the out capsule is only on the outer edge, not inside. Makes sense? I can see my white pulp in the rings. I can see my red pulp between. So you have ring, rooms, splattered. Okay, our last one, my favorite one, my favorite slide, hint, 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 guaranteed to be on a test, hint, 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 is our last one, which is a tonsil. Which there's two things you're supposed to know. Notice one of them is a nodule, which we had earlier. Okay, let me show you a tonsil. That thing in the box up there, that is a tonsil. We're going to zoom in on it. I want you to notice something. What makes this different than all the others you saw? What's something you see that's kind of peculiar? Was it? Has an opening. There's a little hole over here, and there's this kind of gullet-looking thing. So we say they have a mouth. It's not really their name, but it looks like a caterpillar that's folded on its side. So we have this opening, and kind of this, it looks like you flop this over itself. So tonsils have that floppy caterpillar kind of appeal to it. So that area, that's called the crypt. A tonsillar crypt, because where do you put dead people? Under things in a hole. That's a hole to put things. Don't ask me, they name it when you're drunk. But that's called the tonsillar crypt, the mouth and stomach of the caterpillar. Then you have to name, what are these big circles going to be called that you see here? Here, the spots on the caterpillar are called the nodules, because that's the same rings as before. So on a tonsil, you have big nodules, really big, spotted caterpillar with a mouth and a gullet making the crypt. So it looks like a node that flopped over itself, right? But that's a tonsil. So you went from one ring to room to splatter to caterpillar. That's how you'd spot the difference between those when you're looking, right? So if I go back a bit, you can kind of see that crypt and kind of flopped over caterpillar vibe. They don't always flop over. You won't always see that, but you'll often see that. You'll see the big rings and kind of going up. Make sense? That's a tonsil. I don't think I have it on this one, but it's too close. Yeah, they get too close. So as long as you can spot the darkness and see the distinction, you'll know the organ. And then you'll just have to look at your list and remember what words go with which organ. But a circle is almost always a nodule, right? The outside is always a capsule, the in and outer medulla. So some of the words will match each one. So the goal is, once you know those, you got your slides down, all the stuff above it's pretty much macroscopic. So next week's quiz, board boys and stickers, slides for this, and some models. That's what your goal for tonight is. Make sense? Use the rest of your time as you see fit. So you can put pictures up for your